What is going on, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We're back with the Casuals Corner podcast. I'm Mr. Mystery, and with my co-host Kalyban. Say hi, Kalyban.
Yeah, what is good?
All right, so legitimately, we just thought about this like right before, but we want to take a little bit of a different turn for today's episode, and just talk about conspiracy theories because last night, after like the fireworks and stuff that happened in my town, I was just sitting at a campfire talking to people about different theories and like ideologies and stuff like that. And Callie's come with his own share of conspiracy theories, right?
Yes, I have.
All right, I'll kick it off. So this is one that has been bugging my mind for the past I don't know how long. So,
Okay.
it's known as like a hive mind / multiverse type beat. You know how there's always those series where it's like there's alternate realities?
Yeah.
So they say that in this theory, I forget where I heard about it, but it's just lived in my mind that when someone in your reality dies, their consciousness just actually gets transported to a different reality where they're still alive. So in theory, it's saying that you have never died, and any of those like weird close calls to where you
Okay.
could have gotten seriously injured or killed in a
Okay.
different reality, you did die, but your consciousness just transferred to the one where you survived.
That's super interesting. My only question is, what happens when you're like 100 years old, you're on your deathbed and you're frail, and then you die? Are you like dead? Or are we just supposed to live until we're like 3 million years old and just never die ever?
Well, in theory, you could have a reality where you do live to be like 120, 130.
Yeah, but what happens after that then?
No one knows because there's an infinite number of realities.
So you're telling me
Like-
there's a reality where like Genghis Khan is still kicking about?
Possibly, or just his actions have had even more lasting effects. See, here's the thing that I've thought about with multiverse type stuff.
Uh-huh.
Does it come? Think about it this way: does
Okay.
it come down to the big plot points, quote unquote, like the big decisions you make of a yes or no, or does it even go down to the smallest minute detail? Like,
It has
'Cause
to
I thought
go
about this
down
on the
to
car
minute
ride
detail, right?
yeah, like so there's
That's the point of the butterfly effect, is it not? Like any
driving to
minute
work.
action can, yeah,
Like driving to work, if I choose to go 1 mile an hour faster, my day will be changed entirely because I'll get to work slightly faster. So I'll start slightly faster, get things done faster, and then I'll have either more or less energy when I get home. Or if I go 1 mile an hour slower, I'll start work a little bit later, albeit it might be a few seconds later, but it's still a complete different reality.
yeah. Well, I think that's what it is, because that's the whole point of like the butterfly effect, right? It's like, oh, if you go back in time and you alter one little thing, even killing a butterfly, it'll change the future, and then Hitler will still be alive. Like, stuff like that. It's like I feel like, yeah. If you're talking about multiverse, then the it comes down to the minute detail. It's not just big things like whether or not you quit your job or whether or not you travel to another country. It's like, oh, did I wake up on my first alarm or my second alarm? Did I go to sleep at 12:01 or 12:02? Like,
Exactly.
it for
Like,
sure comes down to the minute detail. Granted, we'll never know how much those minute details matter because we experience everything in real time and we are unaware of other possibilities that could have happened in the past because it's the past.
I've talked about this type of stuff to other people, and like they don't like some people that don't know the butterfly effect, they
Yeah.
just see it mapped out as like, say, not Far Cry, Fallout 3, for example, because you recently just streamed that.
Mhm.
The whole choose whether you go with this group or the other group.
Yeah.
It's that's what they perceive it as, where it's a single action that, you know, defines a new spin-off, like a new reality.
Okay, those people are just dumb though. That's the difference. They're just stupid.
Yes, they are. And I try to explain to them, no, that every single action you make whether it is small or big, will create a different spinoff where either you did that or didn't do it, or even did a combination of it.
I have a
Like,
really quick question.
what's up?
Is this person that you keep talking about, is it a specific person? And if it is, are you talking about Aiden?
No, I haven't talked
Okay.
to him about this theory. It's
I
just
feel like
people
his
that I've
brain
talked.
would break.
Oh, I feel like if I talk to him about any of these theories, I feel like I could handle him a little bit, but then I feel like after a while, he would just have like an aneurysm, trying
worst
to think
part
about
is,
it.
Aiden's probably listening to this because he listened to the first one at least. So,
Hi,
hi, Aiden.
Aiden.
But yeah, alright. No, it's super
Alright.
interesting. But let me go ahead and talk about my theory. Way more, toned down, I guess would be the right word. Hollow Earth, right? like you've heard of flat Earth. You know, people say the Earth is flat, even though like that one's ridiculous. They have proven themselves wrong with their own testing. You know, and then of course the Earth. Long time ago, that the solar system was, centered around the Earth rather than being heliocentric, right? It was geocentric.
Yeah.
But then we have Hollow Earth, right? And I didn't want to get this messed up to, offend any of the Hollow Earthers out there. So I actually looked it up on my phone right now. And what it is that there is a large, like, hollow, as the name suggests, space underneath the Earth's crust. Rather than being like a molten core and stuff. It's just kind of like empty down there. And some people will go the distance and even suggest that there is life in there, right? Way beyond just emptiness. That there is subterranean life that lives within the Earth's core. Which is so stupid, because if that was real, our whole like perspective of gravity would change, right? Because that would mess up densities and the mass of our Earth. So, yeah, what's up?
Because I've heard of the Hollow Earth theory before, but I didn't think it was like within the core. I thought it was just like there's the outer crust where we reside
instead
on
of
top of.
well, yeah, instead of the core and the crust,
cave pockets.
Yeah, not cave pockets. Underneath the crust is emptiness. It is space. It is crust.
That's
then
so
nothing.
dumb.
That's what I'm saying. It's not just like pockets like caves. No, it's completely hollow.
Like, I believe that there's life close to the core. But
really?
I'm talking about like microbes and stuff like that, and like.
See, when you said life, I was thinking like xenomorph aliens, bro. Like there's these weirdos chilling under there.
Like, no. Because, like, you think about it this way, there's still life at the bottom of the ocean. But they don't have a skeleton. Because the pressure is what keeps their form. You know that stupid-ass blobfish?
Don't call it stupid, bro. Blobfishes are cool, bro.
No, but have you seen what they look like in their natural habitat, like in the water at the level they're supposed to be? They look normal.
Wait, really?
But it's... Yeah.
Wait, what? I'm looking
this up really legitimately. Quick. Look it up right now. A blobfish back in the water in its depth, because the pressure is what keeps its body together. It doesn't have a skeleton, or it doesn't have like a good skeletal structure.
Oh, what the hell? It's an actual fish?
Yes, it's an actual fish. It's just because it's taken out of the pressure that surrounds it to keep its form. So when it's in normal atmosphere, it just kind of.
What the hell? Okay, that's
You never knew this?
No, dude. I just see them as the stupid little blob that they are, like little slimy idiots that look depressed.
I saw that photo and there's no way something in the water looks like that. And it's because they're not used to the lack of pressure out in the open air. They're used to the being far down below where the pressure keeps them together.
That is nuts. What? Okay. I'm thrown off by that. I thought they were always just slimy idiots. That's why they're depressed, bro.
they're probably like in pain
Yeah.
because their body's just kind of like oozing on the ground.
Yeah, that would okay. What the hell?
Yeah, like there's snails and other fish that are down like way down below. Our our Earth, like the oceans, go so much deeper than we think.
Yeah, bro. I know I could just, if I really wanted to, I could just go down there though. Like I could solve it.
Yeah.
No scuba gear needed, just swimming.
I think that
I could swim
hold on.
down to Mariana's Trench.
I'm trying to think. What was the furthest dive someone did? I think it was like 360 meters.
Eat light work. They haven't seen me dive yet.
I think that it's by. All I know is by a Russian man. I'm pretty sure.
But okay, back to the whole Hollow Earth theory. So some people believe that it is just empty. But like I said, some people believe there's like a civilization of people who live underneath the Earth's crust, and it's nuts.
No shot.
Yeah, no, like legit. So if I'm looking here, right? So it first started in a lot of like different mythologies or whatever. Obviously, we should know that that's not the case. But yeah, no, there's a whole like map that someone even drew that someone called it the interior world. But that is also from a science fiction novel. But yeah, no, some people genuinely believe the Earth is hollow. Most of it is just it's just hollow there. There's no core or whatever. But some people believe that there is life, which is absolutely nuts. But that's about it. It's really dumb. I think it's dumber than Flat Earth, right?
I don't think it's dumber than Flat Earth, but because Flat Earth that's Flat Earth. Like, if you're a Flat Earther listening to this, I am sorry, but that theory to me just makes no sense.
I don't know how. Okay. I know you don't watch all the sports. Do you know who Kevin Durant is? Or no, my bad. I think it's Kyrie Irving.
I do know him as well.
He's a flat earther.
Oh no.
Like I'm pretty sure it's one of the two. I think it's Kyrie though. Let me just look it up to fact check. Yeah, no, he believes in the flat Earth, which is nuts. I don't understand how anyone can believe in either.
Then where does the gravity come from?
I don't know. Space.
That's practically impossible because we are a rock. Whether or not you are flat or round, we're just a rock in space that is rotating around a circular sun.
Yeah, I know.
Filled with circles.
I know, but those must be fake too. But okay, that's enough of the goddamn flat Earth and hollow Earth. It makes my brain rot.
Okay, so let's move on to my next one, which is going to be a lot more sophisticated. I think this has already set the tone for our two lists of theories. This one is a little bit on more of a spiritual level. It's something I learned from my boss.
Okay, so your boss is a weirdo.
He's not a weirdo. He's a good Christian guy, but part of his beliefs are also Buddhist.
Interesting. That's an interesting mix.
And apparently part of that, like the part of the belief that he believes in, like for Buddhist beliefs, he says that there's a certain amount of quote-unquote perfect souls within the entire universe. And each person represents a part of a soul in its progress to become perfect. I don't know how the fuck that works. I don't know what deems a soul to be perfect.
Can we have your boss on as a guest?
We are not bringing my 83-year-old boss on as a guest.
Okay, so, Mr. Bossman, I'm going to show you how to install Discord and Audacity.
Yeah, so you know how you only know how to drive a tractor and barely even know how to work your own iPhone? Come record a podcast.
I think that would work perfectly.
That'd be stellar. But no, I can understand it somewhat, because, like, it's each person's life. The soul within you becomes more and more perfect. And I think the idea of being perfect is, like, true to yourself and helping
Okay.
other people in any way you can. Like, good Samaritan type stuff. But there's some defining point that he told me about that I can't remember for the life of me, because I haven't heard about this theory since my sister was drunk one night and she was talking to me about it. Like, it was 2 a.m. and she was telling me about Mr. Hoff's beliefs. And I was like, dude, I like want to play Ark. Why am I in your room? But
You just black out. So every soul is trying to be perfect.
I don't understand. Like, I can get at it, but I don't remember it enough to understand it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get you. That's weird. I wish I had more information on it. However, you do not, for some reason, want your 83-year-old boss to get on this podcast. I think he would make a great guest. But someone wants to be someone isn't allowing it. It isn't me.
Yeah,
I'll just say
I'm not
that
bringing
much.
my boss onto our podcast.
It would
You
be
want to
so
talk to my
cool.
boss?
He's the first guest on the podcast to upload on the Casuals Corner podcast,
Yes,
which everyone
sir.
should subscribe. Yeah.
Shameless plug aside.
Okay. But okay. It's time for my next theory, right? And that is, we all know what birds are, right? They're the flightless or the flightless.
Dumb
The
flightless
ones that
idiots.
fly. The exact opposite of what I was saying. the dumb flying things, right? Well, I'm here to tell you, none of them are real. Not a single one. Okay. So this theory has been around since like 2018. I saw it when it was like first coming to life on like Instagram, right? And this one is, the theory is simple. Birds aren't real. They are actually like government drones. Okay. And what it says is, oh man, yeah. Here's what it says. In 1947, the CIA was founded. Its sole responsibility is to survey tens of thousands of Americans suspected of doing communist things. This orchestrated stalking epidemic went on for almost 5 years, and few were found guilty on any real crimes. However, it became clear in the early 1950s that the threat of communism was only going to rise, and a broader system was needed to track any individual who was suspected of such activity. The fears were only encouraged when in 1951, Julius and Ethel Rosenberg were wrongly arrested and convicted of espionage against the United States, accused of spying on behalf of the Soviet Union. This highly publicized event gave the government a small window to implement a new program that would place the first CCTV surveillance cameras in areas with high Russian immigrant concentration, right? And then eventually, this had a proposed plan by Eisenhower to put cameras in the sky, obviously, and that's how you can track someone. But then what they did is, they thought, oh yeah, we hate birds. They even went so far to describe them as flying scum or slugs and scum of the skies, right? Because birds can be these guys really hate birds. I don't know why. Like the birds would like poop on their cars and stuff, and they'd be pissed, right? So they believe those things were driving forces that led this dude named Doles to not only implement robots in the sky, but to replace birds in the process. What they did is they killed all the birds in the country, right? Removing them all from the United States, and then replacing them with robot lookalikes that mimic birds and have cameras installed in them. Well, they have to be realistic, of course. They still have to, use the restroom, that kind of stuff. They just, it's how it is. They have to be. Listen, if they didn't poop ever, right? They'd be like, something's wrong with those birds. And they went even further. You know how they always sit on the telephone poles or like the wires? Charging? That's their charging spot. Yeah,
Okay, so
that's where they charge.
for one thing,
Okay,
I know this isn't
so
real because my dad, when he was younger, shot a bird with a BB gun and it lied dead on the neighbor's doghouse for 3 weeks, and
it could have, just hit the circuitry that
bled.
was super small.
It
The
bled.
micro circuitry. Fake blood.
I didn't go to Acme and buy like fake blood and just squirt it all over a bird, bro.
Bro, you didn't, but who did? The government, obviously. They bought fake blood to put in all the birds.
It decaying. My point exactly.
Listen, I'm not a part of, the movement, okay? I'm just the messenger. I don't know their whole ideas. I don't know if they did it. The government works in mysterious ways.
Okay.
Yeah. I just looked and they've made propaganda posters. Time to fight the feathered menace. Birds aren't real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a lot of we hate birds.
Imagine
they aren't
having
real.
bird
They're all
propaganda.
spying on us. Be careful. Imagine believing that birds are real.
I have birds. I have birds that
You
we own 4 parakeets.
birds? You're a part of the problem. They're spying on you.
Well then, what? The government ain't getting anything but us being like, "Oh, you're fucking autistic little shit."
Jesus Christ. But okay. Alright, that's enough of that theory. What do you think of it? What do you think of birds not being real?
It doesn't hold ground. The only part that I can see plausible is the animatronics and robotics of it, because you know that they've made like robotic bees, right? Yes.
What?
They don't look like bees.
They've made robot bees, bro?
What is the smallest robot in the world? A robo-bee is a tiny robot no bigger than a fly, and it is currently the world's smallest robot. And not only is it capable of flight, it can also carry a camera, meaning that as robo-bee's technology evolves, it could easily become the world's smallest drone as well.
That's interesting. Can it pollinate?
It doesn't pollinate.
Damn.
It has a camera.
Useless then.
It can literally be used to spy on people because they're not gonna fucking see what this looks like. Hold on, Robo-Bee. Hold on, let me copy this image and let me show it to you in DMs. There.
All right, bet.
And here's size comparison.
Oh, what the hell? That thing's small as hell. Yeah.
Small robots are like... Hey, look at that.
That is so... How did they do that, bro?
Oh, here's another one. I found another one again. That is a quarter next to it.
These things are nuts. Okay, so... Because you guys don't have, like, video or anything. So, basically, they are roughly the size of a penny. You can fit on the tip of your finger. And way smaller than a quarter. That's absolutely nuts.
You think it's not, like... The idea that it couldn't be possible is just wrong. With the robotics, it can't be possible. Would they go throughout all that trouble and also, you know, mimic a digestive tract? No. Because the last thing you need is, like, the tubes that you know, just create shit, break, and then the entire... Like, you just see a bird out of nowhere just fall out of the sky. because its poop track just broke.
Okay, we are going way off topic, and I'm learning a lot
Dude,
about
robotics is
robots
fucking
right now.
sick.
Robotics may be sick.
That is true.
That is not the point of this episode. The point of this episode is conspiracy theories. And with that being said, how about we transition to your next
this one I
serious
really thought of last night. I don't know why I did. I was just sitting at the campfire and I was like, huh. So, okay, for background, have you ever had times where you see like shadow figures just out of the corner of your eye? What? Just like weird, like black shapes.
I don't know though.
Just they're not supposed to be there, but they are.
Yeah.
Like I've had times, and I'll talk about this one specifically because like normally it's always out of like the peripheral, like your peripheral vision, but this one was a lot more clear cut, and I hate it. Like it scared me so much that night. This was like a couple months ago. Back before I moved into my sister's old room, I was sitting. So my old setup used to be underneath my loft bed. I still have my loft bed, but my setup is no longer there because I have a desk.
Okay.
And so I'm sitting there, playing Ark. I'm like leaning back halfway, so like I'm like I'm looking at like the top part of my screen, but also most of my eyes are like directed up at my bed. And then out of nowhere, I just see this black figure peer over my fucking like retard guardrail that's for my bed, and then just slink behind it. I'm like, yo. So I get up on my chair. Look, there's nothing. And then out of the corner of my eyes, outside in the hallway. So this is one I don't fully believe was a thing. I saw like a gold, like kind of like when you shine a light at a cat's eyes, and it shines back. It was like that.
Yeah.
But the problem is that it was probably at waist height. I don't own a cat that big. And there was nothing around the corner that anyone could stand up on. It was around my waist. That's like 3 feet off the ground. And it's peering around the corner. I'm like,
3 feet off the ground?
No.
I think you mean more like 1.5 feet.
I am not a midget. Thank you very much.
Hey, yo, that term's offensive.
I know a midget, so I can. She doesn't have dwarfism, but she's 4'10", and she's my age.
You just talking about Ashley?
I forgot that Ashley's small.
Yeah, Ashley's also 4'10".
No, but I saw it like peering around the corner with those eyes. I'm like, all right, no. Bear in mind, it's also like 2 a.m. So I'm like, this is obviously my brain. But then it got me thinking, because we always talk about having a sixth sense, or like, it's kind of along that whole thing where it's like, there's a plane that exists in our world, but we can't perceive it. And what if the shadow figures that we see randomly are a part of that plane that we just get to see for like a glimpse, or like for a second or two? You know what I mean?
That's interesting.
It doesn't hold ground at all.
But
it's like it's just some random crack theory that I thought of last night.
Yeah, that's a weird theory. I feel like that one's pretty explainable though, with like the whole like shadowy thing or like saying things. That kind of stuff can be caused by like lack of sleep or a bunch of other things, right? It's interesting though. But
I'm not banking on it being true. It was some random theory I made up.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
It just randomly came to my mind. I was like, yo, what if? But no, that's just my brain trying to look for answers for things that have happened in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to represent your last thing?
Yeah, okay, I understand. But yeah, so these things are kind of like 2-in-1s, or like have different ideas behind them, right? Um, the first one is it's been talked about for forever, but Tupac still being alive. Okay, you somehow don't know who Tupac is. To anyone who's listening, very famous rapper, that got killed in his car, I believe. Yeah, he got shot at, and the people who killed him never got convicted. And the latest rumor, or one of the latest rumors, is he's alive in Malaysia, just kicking it. Yeah, which is nuts. So, for reference, that the son of Suge Knight, who is also called Suge Knight. If you don't know who Suge Knight is, another rapper, he was involved with the whole death of Tupac, right? So, Suge Knight's son, who also goes by Suge Knight, so Suge Knight Jr., claimed October 2nd, 2018, that, he was alive and well, living in Malaysia, okay? Yeah, so he claimed that Tupac is alive by posting a text conversation with an unnamed individual telling him, saying, "You said too much. Time for you to go." After he tweeted out saying that Tupac is still alive.
Now, that can...
So, yeah, and then after that as well, Suge Knight, posted a video of himself in his car saying that they were following him, and "I can't even sit in this light. F this. I gotta go." Okay? Which is interesting. And then on top of that, there's a couple different points, right? Another person, right? Suge Knight, I believe this is, Suge Knight Sr., who knew Tupac, and like I said, was involved with this whole thing, himself also doubts the validity of his death. He spoke out from jail in a documentary stating, "When I left the hospital, me and Pac was laughing and joking. I don't see how somebody could turn from doing well to doing bad. So I guess they were both in the hospital. They both were coming out laughing, and then he died. And then he's even made statements back in 2014 stating on camera that Tupac's not dead and is just chilling somewhere smoking a Cuban cigar." And then, 6 months after coming out and saying that, Suge Knight was shot at 6 times in a nightclub attack.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
And then not only that, there's even more, right? So people are assuming, both the Suge Knights have been trying to, get killed by saying this stuff, right? But then Suge Knight is also, he was in the car with Tupac. So that's how
Suge Knight this entire time was one of the people. I was like, yeah?
Okay. No, he wasn't one of the attackers. No, Suge Knight was in the car with Tupac when the drive-by shooting happened. There was 14 shots that were let off, right? Not one hit Suge, who was right next to Tupac. Not one. He got away pretty much off free, right? And he also dodged a bunch of questions about the shooting as well. So one of the theories was Suge Knight was the one that got Tupac killed, right? He placed a hit or something on Pac, and that's why he came off scot-free, because they knew who the target was, and they knew where Suge was.
Yeah.
Right.
But
it doesn't account for, the fact that last minute Tupac himself asked his bodyguard and girlfriend to travel in a different car, because at first there was supposed to be 4 people in the car: Tupac, the guard, Tupac's girlfriend, and Suge Knight. Last minute before they got in the car, Tupac himself, the one who was killed in the shooting, told the bodyguard and the girlfriend to go in a different car, right? And also, Tupac had always been, obsessed with, protecting himself, staying prepared, because 2 years prior, there was another shooting, right? So he was, try to stay safe or whatever by wearing, bulletproof vests and stuff. However, this one night, this was coming back
The
from a
one
Mike
night
Tyson
he wasn't
fight,
wearing it.
a super public event. The one night he wasn't wearing it, he went out to a public event. So you think someone who's obsessed with being safe all the time, the one time he doesn't wear it, right?
Mm.
And then, not only that as well, right? I'm sure you've seen pictures of Tupac. He's a pretty he's a smaller guy, I suppose, right? Like he's not like super big or anything, right? The day after his shooting, he was cremated in a private ceremony that Suge Knight paid $3 million to secure, and the cremator listed Tupac's body as being 6 feet and his weight being 215 pounds, which is a decent size. Like it's not like you're gonna be, super scrawny with that, right? But on Tupac's driver's license, he was listed at 5'10", 168 pounds. So how in the hell do you make that much of a weight discrepancy, at least, right? Yeah. And then the craziest thing about this whole cremator dude, right? You think they would hire like a professional to do this, something along those lines. It's Tupac, for crying out loud. He then retired, vanished, and has never been heard from since. And this all happened after a planned memorial, a public memorial, right? Was also canceled last minute. The last people to see the body of Tupac was Suge Knight and this random cremator. Right? So super, super weird stuff. And then another one, right? A 2010 interview, right, with this brand or company called Treach, right? Or no, my bad, another rapper. He was a friend of Tupac. An interview in 2010 asked him, or found him answering a supposedly off-the-record question is Tupac really dead? With an assured statement from Treach saying, last time I saw him, he was in Cuba, man. And then in 2018, there was images, I guess, with Tupac partying with Rihanna in a Cuban bar, which those seem to be edited, but people were like, yo, he's not dead. That one was just kind of whack. But yeah, no, it's just a bunch of weird stuff, especially with the connections in like Malaysia and especially Cuba. Because he has an aunt that lives in Havana, right? And I don't know, the idea of Tupac being alive and in Cuba or Malaysia with all that evidence, it's just weird. I think he's dead. But the whole thing with the cremation and the body discrepancy, definitely weird. Suge Knight hardly being like hit or anything, also weird. But yeah, that's pretty much everything.
Understand why people like. I can understand why a celebrity might decide to fake their own death and just start a different life, because I don't know what it was back then, but like some fans were fucking nuts, and like maybe the limelight was too much for that person, so they just wanted to not be in it anymore. So they just dropped off the face of the earth. But it's weird with like the unfinished story, especially with the amount of holes that it has as well. Like that cremator, that's weird.
Yeah, the whole I don't know much about cremating. Maybe they just hired some rookie or whatever, and they did such a poor job. That's why he quit. Or maybe there's something underlying with that.
I feel like there is, because I don't think someone as prevalent as Tupac was and still kind of is within people, like many people's inspirations for starting music. I don't think they would hire someone like, I don't think the family would go out of their way and be like, yes, you have just started your life as a cremator. Cremate the star. Like,
welcome to day one.
Welcome to
your
day
job's
one.
Tupac.
See this famous rapper? Burn him. No, I don't.
Jesus Christ! I don't know if they would talk about that to anyone. Burn the body. body.
Please
No one says that.
strip his body from this photo. No, like what?
No, they don't
I
do
hope
that.
not.
At least I
If
hope.
if his fan was over here like, burn my husband, it's like, oh no, not husband because he had a girlfriend, but you know what I mean. It's like burn him. But
Yeah, no, I totally understand.
no, I could see that that's a possibility. Like I could see that how Tupac's a possibility of still being alive. But I see.
Yeah,
on your list
it's.
you have something else. As
Well,
well,
I mean,
but we'll
it's
get
one
to
of those.
that very quickly.
Yeah, we'll get to that
Yeah.
in just a moment. But yeah, no, it's super interesting. Of course, with everything else, joke theories and all,
Mhm.
we'll never know, right? Unless there's some huge like information leak, something like that, right? Like which would be very hard to get a hold of. No one will ever know. Speaking of information leaks, the whole thing talking about aliens. I don't know if you saw
How
those.
long ago was this?
About the. This
No.
was like maybe a month
was
ago.
it there like yes, they are UFOs?
Yeah, there's so UFOs and then there's the underwater ones as well. Have you not seen those clips from the Navy?
It's been a while. If I did. There's clips from the Navy about what?
Yeah. Okay, so there's 3 different clips from the Navy, I believe. Whether it be audio recordings or actual video about just to sum it up so I can get to the next theory. What was it? Oh god damn it. Losing my train of thought. There it is. Okay. So they saw this like, UFO, unidentified flying object, not necessarily alien, right? But it was flying through the air, cutting angles super weird, right? And they started going down closer and closer to the ground, right? And it's, they're Navy, they're on boats. And then it goes underwater. And it maintains speed underwater, like Mach speeds underwater, switching angles still super weird. And then it kind of just disappears. And they don't know what the hell happened to it. It's very interesting. And this is recent. If I look it up, yeah, so of course they report, they can't say it's alien spacecraft, but it was kind of crazy that people were freaking out about them, and it was classified information for a while that came out. But yeah, so that was just stuff that was going on last month, but now I can move into the theory of so I talked about one famous person not being dead, right? So let me talk about a more infamous person not being dead, and who better than, I believe, someone I brought up earlier in this podcast. I think I referenced his name.
Yeah, you did reference
Hitler.
his name.
I did reference Hitler earlier. Talk about a callback.
I've heard some information about this whole thing, about him possibly being alive. Like, there's one supporting fact that I'm like, shit, is he? Or, like, not still alive, but, like, at least he escaped. Because
he didn't die when we thought, yeah. I mean,
in, like, the 2010s, sure. Like, early 2010s, well, first off, after Hitler had committed suicide via cyanide pill. No. Cyanide.
I thought he blew his own head off.
But
got you.
The Russians, after storming the bunker, proceeded to burn his body and then take his skull. And it's been on display at a museum in Russia. So in the 2010s, I don't know why, but they were like, British was like, yo, let's run like a DNA test on this thing. They ran a DNA test on the skull of Hitler. It was not him. It was
Hmm.
some random old German lady. Not even like the
Oh
wife slash
wow.
girlfriend that he had at the time. Not his kids. Not like none of his familial. It just wasn't him. And then as soon as the Russians found out that it was not him, they immediately did not let anyone from the public see the skull ever again. Like, it's not like they,
Oh wow.
you know, wanted to look more into it. As soon as they found out that it was not his, they're like, no, we are not letting this outside of our country ever again.
Interesting. Well, yeah, as you know, as you've heard by now, the theory is Hitler didn't die when he was, supposedly dead. And, as Nick over here was saying, the the school that they had or whatever that the Soviets apparently had wasn't his, and they said, um, it's pretty crazy the different theories because what is it?
I know
I'm
one
trying,
of
I'm
them
trying
is
to
that
find.
he
I
went off
just
to
had it pulled
Argentina.
up, just so I wasn't saying false. Yeah, so I guess I can start from the end there, but people were saying that he lived the rest of his days in South America. But yeah, so in the weeks and months after the war, Hitler sightings from across the world were reported, right, to different different services like the CIA, that kind of stuff for British and American. So Hitler was claimed to have been seen in Ireland dressed as a woman. He converted to Islam in Egypt. He was in a coffee house in Amsterdam. He was on a train from New Orleans. He was in a Washington D.C. restaurant.
There's no shot.
And also, these are all reported sightings of Hitler, may I add. And Charlottesville, Virginia.
Okay, hold on. I want to go back to the first sighting.
And then most famously,
imagine you're the woman in Ireland that is that is said,
who got,
bro,
you're
just
so
Hitler
cold.
in woman's clothes. I would be so depressed if I was that woman.
I'd be offended, bro. I don't know what I would be raps for me. If I was a woman, and you know what? I know your secret. You're just Hitler. I'm ending it all. I'm becoming the next Hitler. Like, hey, yo, I mean, listen, bro. My pride, my ego,
gone.
My confidence, absolutely gone. There's no way about it. And then, imagine how big of a flex that would be, bro. Like, you go to Washington, D.C., not the state of Washington, D.C., and you get a restaurant there, and you're Hitler.
The enemy that you had the entire time during the war, and you're just like, yeah, I'll have a coffee.
Yeah, can I get one iced mocha frappuccino, please? Like, bro,
at a restaurant, like,
that's
can
a
I
flex. Like, I think what? Jesus Christ! But God damn it! God damn it! Sorry, my bad. Potato. Okay, but as I was saying, oh my god. I think it was Escobar. He did that. He posed out in front of the White House and took a picture.
I watched a documentary.
Yeah, that
one
was
documentary. It was like a TV show called Narcos. It's on Netflix. I watched that, and they had like the old photos of him, and it was just him stanced up outside the White House. Like, what the fuck are you gonna do?
That's nuts.
It was so crazy.
That's so nuts. But so coffee house, etc., cafe, that kind of stuff. But then, as you were talking about earlier, the most famous one, there were multiple reports of him being in Argentina with some of his old comrades. And yeah, and it said what? having by some accounts been escorted out of Berlin, flown to a German airbase in Denmark, and then taken across the Atlantic by a U-boat. And then he had arrived on one FBI file report had arrived at his Argentinian ranch hideaway by horseback. Right? And these all, these are just rumors, etc. Still kind of crazy, right? And then there's all these different books that have been made. And then this article starts talking about the skull and everything else, about the poor body double that was found, right? Because it says right here, British newspapers reported comments by a Russian officer that a charred body discovered by the Soviets was a very poor double. Across the Atlantic, U.S. newspapers ran quotes attributed to the Russian garrison commandant of Berlin that Hitler had gone into hiding somewhere in Europe, with the Spanish dictator General Francisco Franco fingered for potentially sheltering him. Okay? And all of this is just pretty crazy, talking about, oh yeah, he never died, and that's a crazy trip, by the way. To go from, what? Where is it? I just lost it. I just had it. From Ireland to Egypt to Amsterdam to New Orleans to DC to Charlottesville, and then living the rest of his life in Argentina.
The Argentina one has also been expanded upon, actually, because I remember this. There was a man who claimed to be 128 years old, who then also claimed to be Hitler, who spent 70 years in hiding in Argentina. I have a photo of the man right now. I can send it to you real quick.
Really? Please do.
The guy on the left. He's the one that claims. Yes.
He claims to be Hitler?
I don't know why you would claim that.
Interesting. It has to be dementia, right?
Unless he just is.
It has to be dementia, right? That would be crazy. He's just like, yeah, no, I'm Hitler. Get bodied, bozo. But, no, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why. So it's either he's actually Hitler or he's crazy.
An elderly man from Salta, Argentina, proclaimed that he's the infamous German dictator Adolf Hitler, and that he spent the last 70 years in hiding. He decided to emerge from his extended period of hiding after the Israeli Secret Service officially abandoned its policy of capturing Nazi war criminals in 2016. The man said he changed his name and went undetected for a long time. This he allegedly did by arriving in Argentina as a German immigrant in 1945, using a passport under the name of Hermann Gutenberg. It was a fake passport produced by the Gestapo. Gutenberg, who also claims to be 128 years old, intends to publish an autobiography in September to, quote-unquote, restore his public image. And then, in quotes, he said, "I've been depicted as a bad guy only because we lost the war," he said. When people read my side of the story, it will change the way they perceive me," the man added. Official historical documents have it that Hitler killed himself on April 30th, 1945 in the Führerbunker, Berlin, after the Nazis suffered its devastating defeat from the Allied forces. But there are alternate accounts saying otherwise. The conspiracy angle on the Führer's suicide was boosted when a skull fragment attributed to him turned out to be a woman's through DNA testing. But Angela Martinez, Gutenberg's wife for 55 years, dismissed the claims as a product of senility, being senile, saying he never spoke about Hitler until 2 years ago when he began showing signs of Alzheimer's. She thinks her husband may have been a Nazi who now feels guilty about his past. Gutenberg surfaced with his assertion days after a huge cache of Nazi memorabilia was seized from a home in Buenos Aires. Authorities described the find as possibly the largest collection of National Socialist artifacts, proving that Nazis escaped to South America after the war. So, albeit it might not be a source of yes, it was him, but it does also prove the fact that a lot of Nazis did flee from Berlin to South America. And also to back the whole idea of it, they were taught. I remember I watched a documentary on this. No one was allowed inside the room of the bunker where they all killed themselves. He had everyone moved out of there, like all of his like right hand men, and just like all the higher ups within his regime. He forced them all out of the room, and then they had to wait for a certain sound, and then they could go inside for the bodies and burn them. So, in theory, it could have been real. Like, the suicide could be real, or it could be just that within that time, the body doubles were then shot or killed, and then placed. And then they burnt the bodies so that they'd be on recognition.
Wow. Huh. That's nuts. I feel like out of all the theories we've talked about today, right, I think that's a good point to wrap up that theory, because I'm just going to be like, oh, wow, that's crazy over and over again, right? And we've covered it. So let me just ask you this before we start wrapping things up. What theory do you think is the most likely, and what theory do you think is the least likely?
Most likely, the one about Tupac and Hitler. Least, the Hollow Earth. Because Hollow Earth would denounce any claims that we have learned about gravity, about the molten core in the middle of our Earth that, stays us grounded. And I don't think we would have, because we mine a lot. I'm pretty sure we've gotten close to the center of the Earth. I
don't think so. I don't think we've even gotten past the crust, bro. I'm gonna keep it a bit.
As I search this up, you also say your piece.
Okay. So what I was saying is the most likely is for sure the Tupac and Hitler thing. Do I still believe them? No, I don't believe them. However, I think those are the most likely. And for the least likely, I'm gonna go with either Hollow Earth or the Shadow Plane one that you talked about, the shadows in the corner of your eyes. I think those have been disproven a lot with different things. Hollow Earth I just think is also dumb. It's hard to decide one of those two, but for two totally different reasons. Yeah, and then the rest, of course, I don't believe any of these. It's just kind of fun to talk about and discuss, and whatever else we may choose to do with them.
Yeah, no, we have now made it close at all.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, we got close to the Earth's core. I was like, no,
I forgot that the Earth is set to Wumbo, because the deepest hole that we've ever drilled was 9 inches in diameter, but it stretched 40,230 feet by it was called the Kola Super Deep Borehole in Russia. It has only gone around, I think 40,000 feet, somewhere around 7.5 miles. The radius of the Earth is 3,963 miles. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I'm a little off. Just good.
Yeah, just a little bit, but that's okay.
I know my Hitler facts, but I don't know anything about our own Earth.
Jesus Christ!
I think are we at the hour mark?
But with that being said, yeah, we're just about at the hour mark, so it's time to wrap it up. I want to appreciate everyone who listened out this far. We kind of switched it up a little bit today. We kind of took a little bit of a different approach, but I had fun. It's always fun to mess around with theories and just kind of, read up about
Oh,
them
for
or
sure.
learn about them or whatever else.
Yeah,
Or kind of just poke
birds.
fun at some of them. Nah,
I mean,
bro,
hey, you
birds
also
are
learned a lot
scientific
about
drones.
robotics today.
True, wasn't planning on that. But, alright, that being said, it's time to close
No,
out.
I
Do
mean,
you have any
just
last words?
subscribe. Yeah.
Yeah, nice one. Subscribe, and we should have another video
Hopefully.
out by the end of the month. So,
Take care.
take it
Peace.
easy. And we're out.